then was to do a graduate study, do my master's degree. I was fortunate enough to get into one of the Ivy League universities in Canada. That's the U15, and that was the University of Saskatchewan. Came into the University of Saskatchewan primarily because of my interest in the research I wanted to do. They had a lot of faculty members at the university then conducting research in my area of interest.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Malobs, and today I have a special guest here. Firstly, for those who are new, welcome. For those who are returning subscribers, thank you for returning. I've got a special guest here, and for those on the immigrants Instagram streets, you know him. His name is Olu. I call him Olu, one of Canada. A lot of you call him all kinds of names. Olu is a citadel of knowledge, I would say. So yes, I will leave Olu to introduce himself, and we'll take it from there.
Hi everyone. I hope you all are doing very fine. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Olu. Some of you call me Olu of Canada. Some of you know me as Olufemiloye on Instagram and on Twitter. I am a Nigerian Canadian based in Canada. Came into Canada about 6 years ago myself as an international student, and Canada has been so wonderful and good to us. Gave us the opportunity to transition from being an international student to a permanent resident, to becoming a Canadian citizen, which I know is what a lot of people look forward to. That's the final bus stop a lot of people look forward to getting into. Yeah, I enjoy sharing the procedure of, coming to Canada, tapping into the opportunities that are available for international students, for permanent residents, sharing resources so that people who are coming after us can learn from my experience and avoid some of the mistakes we made in our own time, and also be able to integrate well into the larger Canadian society. So I do a lot of that on Twitter and on Instagram using my handle at Olufemiloye. Professionally, I am a public servant in Canada. I work as a policy and program analyst, supporting government policies and programs in different sectors to make life more meaningful and beneficial for all the residents in Canada. I'm so excited to join today, and I look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Olu was an international student. Olu is a citizen, like a Canadian citizen, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Olu is a Canadian citizen. Olu tweets from his experiences, and if you follow him, I'm going to drop his handles on the description, and then I'm sure if you follow him on Instagram or Twitter, you will gain a lot. That's if you're looking to come to Canada. So yes, I've got a bunch of questions to ask Olu here prepared. I have my screen, so if you see me looking to my right, it means that I'm just looking to get my questions for Olu. The first question I have here, you've introduced yourself. So the first question I have is, why did you come to Canada? Why?
Very big question. And the way I like to answer that is that even when I was coming to Canada back then, about 6 years ago, never knew I was going to stay for this long in Canada. My primary purpose of coming to Canada back then was to do a graduate study, do my master's degree. I was fortunate enough to get into one of the Ivy League universities in Canada. That's the U15, and that was the University of Saskatchewan. Came into the University of Saskatchewan primarily because of my interest in the research I wanted to do. They had a lot of faculty members at the university then conducting research in my area of interest. And I also was lucky enough to get the International Day Scholarship, which was the biggest scholarship at the University of Saskatchewan at that time for international students wanting to do a master's and PhD. For my master's and PhD, I got about $100,000, which was, attractive enough.
Wow!
Getting paid to go to school.
Of course.
You're very confident of the quality of education and training you've received. The university is a very reputable university, one of the best universities in the world. And there's nothing better.
I love
it. Tap into the opportunity at the time. So that was why I came to Canada. It was primarily for educational reasons at the time.
Oh, good. I mean, impressive. I was just listening. I'm like, okay, you guys need to take notes. For those of you who are watching, take notes, and you can come back to play the video all over again, because if you're interested in the University of Saskatchewan, then Olu is the best person to be your model. So the next question I have here is, what province did you land in, and what province do you currently live in?
So I landed in Saskatchewan. I mean, there's no direct flight from Nigeria to Saskatchewan, so I flew through Pearson Airport in Toronto. Toronto Airport was my port of entry, but then I transitioned quickly to Saskatchewan, and I lived in Saskatoon for a very, very long time, which is the main campus of the University of Saskatchewan at the time. So I call myself a very proud prairie boy. Saskatchewan is one of the prairie provinces in Canada. Saskatchewan and Manitoba precisely. And right now, I still largely live in Saskatchewan, even though work takes me across Canada. I have family members in Ontario and in British Columbia precisely. But yeah, still largely live in Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. So how is Saskatchewan? Because, I mean, firstly, the name is very hard for a lot of us to pronounce. Is that how hard it is living in Saskatchewan? So how is it just generally?
I mean, Saskatchewan, it's fun to live in Saskatchewan. Never knew how to pronounce the name of the province myself until I got into Canada. I used to say, is this Saskatchewan or, you know.
I know.
But yeah, it's fun. The people out there are nice. It's not as populated as a lot of other bigger provinces in Canada, talk of places like British Columbia, Quebec, and Ontario. But you know, it's a place that a lot of immigrants and newcomers are also looking at moving to right now, based on so many other factors that I believe we'll talk or touch on during the course of our discussion today. But life is good in Saskatchewan. There are lots of post-secondary institutions in Saskatchewan. The two biggest cities in the province are Saskatoon and Regina. Saskatoon is the economic capital and Regina is the administrative capital of the province. One of the questions I had in my mind when I was moving to Saskatchewan then was that, would I even see people that looks like me, you know, Black people?
I was going to ask you that. So that leads me to my question that came to my mind. How many Black people do you see in a day or in a week?
Lots of Black people. When I first got into Saskatchewan, I was really, really surprised because at the University of Saskatchewan, even as far back as 6-7 years ago, they had an African Student Association. They had a Nigerian Student Association. They had a Nigerian Saskatoon Resident Association, which is in the main city outside of the university itself. And there are also other African nationals from different African countries who also have their own associations in the city and also in the university. So I was really, really amazed. My first day in class, when we went for the orientation program as new students, I probably met like maybe 15 to 20 Nigerian and Ghanaian.
Okay, now this is interesting.
Like I was really, really surprised, you know, because before then I got to know that there were some states in Nigeria who used to sponsor, you know, their residents or, you know, people from their states to go and study in the University of Saskatchewan. So that grew the student population for Nigerians and for so many other African nationals. Also, like I earlier mentioned, the university is very, very reputable across the world. We've had a lot of graduates that have, international students that have graduated from various programs in the universities that, you know, are flying the flag of Canada and, you know,
like you are doing right now.
So it was surprising for me. I never expected that because when I was moving to Canada, I did not know anyone in Saskatchewan. It was just a journey of faith. The opportunity came, we grabbed it with both hands, and we just trusted that God was trusted the process and trusted that God would guide us right. And we were thankful to God for the journey so far.
Awesome. This is impressive. I mean, knowledge is power. I wouldn't have known. I didn't really know much about the University of Saskatchewan. But yeah, thank God we have you here, and people who are watching and listening will have all these resources to go. So I'm just going to jump into my next question. What was the major challenge you faced when you landed in Canada?
The first one would be the weather. So 3 things I talk about would be the weather, the people, and the food. But the first one would be the weather. Okay. I came into Canada around August, and I was flying from Lagos, Nigeria, where the weather was like 30 degrees. And I got to Toronto, and it was like 15 degrees. And I was, very cold, shivering and all that. And I was just talking to, very interestingly, I met a Nigerian family in Toronto who were also coming from Nigeria, but they were already living in Saskatoon, and they were meant to be on the same flight, to Saskatoon from Toronto. And I was, telling them, man, 15 degrees is so cold. And they were just laughing and telling me that, if 15 degrees is so cold, you don't know what's
it was started.
Saskatoon, and this is just fall, not even winter yet. So when the winter came, it was a rude shock. Nothing prepares you for Canadian winter than experiencing it. And this is not me trying to scare you, but you just have to experience the winter weather in some of the provinces in Canada to kind of like have a full idea and understanding of the things I'm talking about. I think that would be the first one. The second one would be, the people. It was my first time living home permanently for a very long time. And what I meant by that would be the first time I was traveling out of Nigeria on a one-way ticket. No return tickets, no idea of when I would be returning home. And it gets really, really challenging. Knew nobody in the province and the city I was moving to. So it took me some time to, come to the realization that this is a new world. I need to try on new paths, meet new people, make new friends and all that. It was challenging at first, but because I was very fortunate to meet a lot of people who, are also from Nigeria, various parts of the country, various parts of Africa, lots of international students. And that's one thing Canada is very big on. It's a highly multicultural environment. You meet people from all parts of the world here, began to adjust as time went by and, kind of like settled in. The third one would be the food. For some of us that are foodies and like, African foods, we like our pounded yam and our jollof rice and, eba and all that. Was challenging at first before I now found out that even in Saskatoon, we had one African store, one African restaurant, another store being operated by somebody from Ghana. So the only difference is that you can get everything you want in these places. They may be expensive, and as an international student, then you are on a very, very tight budget. So it was challenging at first, trying to strike a balance between learning how to, change your diet and food and eat some Canadian food and balance that up with what the pounded yam and the foriro you're used to.
I know.
I think those 3 would be, what I found challenging a bit when I came, but as time went by, we got used to things and it got better with time.
All right, nice. Talking about the people, have you experienced any form of racism, implicitly or explicitly, like outright racism or, just indirectly? Have you?
I mean, I think a lot of the things I've experienced would be the indirect one, the very, very subtle acts of racism and aggressions you experience on the day-to-day life. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in having access to some opportunities whether it's in how some people view you, and all that. But the one thing I like about the Canadian society is that they recognize this, even though a lot of these things are systemic racism. You find a lot of initiatives being put in place, proactive measures to support individuals, people of color. Doesn't mean that we've gotten there yet, but you see the genuine intention to at least be of help and make things better. But I have experienced, never seen somebody come boldly to me in person to tell me something like go back to your country or so, but you see it in people's body language, you see it in the way they react to you, you see it in some of the questions they ask you, and also the limit to some of the opportunities you are able to tap into, especially if you are not a Canadian citizen yet. Those would be some of the things I've said generally.
All right, thank you so much. The next question here is, so briefly walk us through the process of becoming an international student in Canada. Now, this is probably what a lot of viewers will be very interested in. But yeah, it's a lot of information. So that's why you should go to Olufemiloye's Instagram page and look at the resources he has. But yeah, he's just going to briefly walk us through the process of applying to study in Canada.
Briefly, to even start the process of coming to Canada as an international student, I tell people there are 4 things you need to do. There are 6 questions you need to answer, and there are 3 plans you need to make. The 4 things you have to do is that you have to be curious about the process. The curiosity about the process would build that interest in finding information in you. I use myself as an example. When I was talking earlier, I said I never knew anyone in the University of Saskatchewan. You may be curious to know, how did I even find out about the University of Saskatchewan to begin with? Yes. The first time I heard about Saskatchewan, I thought it was on a radio station back home in Nigeria. I was just listening to a radio station, and all these individuals that come online and talk about, Canada is looking for people, there are opportunities in so places. They are looking for people in this province, because as big as Saskatchewan is, the population in Saskatchewan is just about 1.2 million. Oh. The landmass in Saskatchewan is about 600 and something thousand square kilometer, which is like 2/3 of the landmass in Nigeria. So take Nigeria, divide it into 3, part 2/3 of, 2 out of the 3, that's what you have in Saskatchewan. And the entire population is just 1.2 million. So that's not even up to the population of some local government in, say, Lagos State.
I know, right?
Now look at just 1.2 million in the whole of Nigeria. That's how it feels like. So I heard on the radio station that, this province is looking for people to work and all that. At that time, it never occurred to me that I could probably get a job from Nigeria to go and work in Canada, but I knew I had a bachelor's degree. I wanted to do a master's degree. The curiosity stepped in, and I built on that. The first question I asked myself was, in this province that they are looking for people to work, they'll probably have universities there. I want to do a master's degree. A simple Google search of universities in Saskatchewan turned up the results of the schools they have, the University of Saskatchewan, the University of Regina, and all that. That's how you turn your curiosity into finding information. That's one thing you have to be able to do when you want to start the process. Be curious. The second one would be to take initiative. You want to act on that curiosity to look for information by taking initiative, by not just leaving it at hearing about the University of Saskatchewan, by taking additional proactive steps to look for information, which would lead you to the next thing. You're curious, you're taking initiative, you are being proactive with looking for information. And lastly, you are intensively doing personal research, because there are lots of information that you may not even find on the pages of people talking about things, maybe because they are talking about it from a very general perspective. I was saying earlier, I think I made a post just a day or two ago, talking about the fact that Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. Canada, by virtue of those 10 provinces and 3 territories, it's like having different countries within a larger country called Canada. A lot of these provinces do things differently. What is applicable in province A may not be applicable in province B. So you have to do your personal research to look for information that are tailor-made, that are specific to you. You can use the guidance that other individuals have provided to now narrow down your search. So keep those 4 things in mind. Be curious, take initiative, be proactive, do personal research, and strategically position yourself for opportunities by doing that. Once you have that in your mind, the 6 questions you now need to ask yourself when you're planning to come to Canada to study would be number 1, what do I want to study? Yes, we know you're coming to Canada to study. It must be a particular program. How do you decide the program you want to come to Canada to study? What are you currently doing? What have you done in the past in school? What is your highest level of education? What do you intend to do in the future? And how would this program help you to get to that future? You know, look at it from the standpoint of the past, the present, and the future. You know, you want to make sure you have answer, because these are the things you would connect together to narrow down your purpose of coming to Canada to decide the program you want to do. In my own case, I had a bachelor's degree in an area. Based on what I was doing at the time, I was able to identify the program that are connected to both my previous education and my current professional experience at the time, and what I intend to do in the future. So that's a very, very important question to answer. It's not something anybody can answer for you, because you know yourself better than others. They may be able to give you tips and say, okay, maybe consider this area. You don't have to sit down and decide, you know, this makes sense. I have the strength and the ability to do this, and I'll go for this. So very, very important to decide what you want to study and at what level. The second question to answer would be, where can I find the program I am interested in? In Canada, there are more than 100 universities and several colleges. Not all the universities would offer the program you are interested in, you know. So you have to narrow that down. Now that you know the program you are interested in, you have to narrow it down to where can I find that program? Which universities offer my program of interest? You know, Google is a very good platform to search for that. If you want to do a master's degree in, say, psychology, for instance, and you go to Google and say master's in psychology in Canada, you will get your answer. There's also a database that has all the universities in Canada, and you can use certain keywords, the program you're interested in, to do the search, and that's the University Study Database. If you go to www.universitystudy.ca, you can do your search there and narrow down your options of the universities that are offering the program of interest. The third question would now be, what are the admission requirements? You have to find answer to this. In all these universities, if you find, like, say, 10, 15 universities offering the programs you're interested in, they may have specific admission requirements. Maybe the grade, the number of referees they need, you know, the way they want you to write your statement of intent and all that. Those are the things you want to pay particular attention to look at the specific requirements in those universities and further narrow down your search. That will take you to the fourth question to answer, which is, am I eligible for this program? Do I meet the admission requirement? Do I have what it takes? Would I be able to succeed in my admission process based on what the university says they are looking for? By the time you get to the fourth question, you know whether to proceed or not, you know, realistically. If you are able to answer that fourth question, you now move to the fifth question on how and when do I apply? Do I submit my application online? Is there a special way they accept the application? Do they have authorized representatives that, you know, work with them in the school? Can I apply myself directly? When can I apply? When will the application open? These are information that are not generic, are always specific to each of these universities. University A may say, the deadline to apply is December 15. Another one may say it is December 1, or another one may say it's January 15. You want to pay particular attention to when to apply the terms that are available. Is this program available all through the year? Is it just the fall term? Is it just the winter term? Is it just the spring term and all that? Those are the three key terms we have in Canada. So that's the 5th question I believe you need to answer. The 6th question will now be the finance. I tell people education is an investment. International students in Canada pay 2 to 3 times or more what a local student would pay. You want to be aware of that so that at the end of the day, you are not applying, you get the admission, there's no financial support. You're now asking that, oh, how do I pay this $30,000 or $20,000? So knowing this information beforehand helps you to prepare ahead, which is very, very important. It also helps you to narrow down your choice. For me, when I was applying then, scholarship was a big part of my, interest in going for graduate study. I was looking for a school that would not just admit me, but would also offer me financial support. So you want to know what are the financial implications for the program, what's the tuition like, what are the financial supports that are available to students. And in answering these questions, what do I want to study and at what level? Where is the program being offered? What are the admission requirements? Am I eligible? How and when do I apply? What are the financial implications and support? These 6 questions, answering them will help you to narrow down your choice on where to focus on, the programs to prioritize and all that. In terms of scholarship, which I know is a big part of what a lot of us from back home are interested in, there are certain universities that I personally call the deep pocket, heavy pocket universities in Canada. They are the Ivy League. They have a lot of, provide a lot of financial support for international students. We call them the U15 universities. They are also research-intensive universities in Canada for people who want to do research and get some financial support. The good thing about these universities is that a lot of them, you don't even need to apply for scholarships separately. They make the decisions for the scholarship or for people to offer financial support to, based on the same admission requirements or the admission documents you've submitted. If you want to know more about the U15 universities, you can go to www.u15, so u15.ca, and you see a list of those universities there. Like I said earlier, check the specific requirements and the information that are available in those universities. All these universities have the finance sections on their website where they detail the scholarships that are available, the requirements, when to apply, what they expect you to have as well. So pay particular attention to that. I also have a lot of this information on my personal website, on my Instagram pages, Instagram and Twitter pages. The link in my bio there, you find a lot of information on some of these things there. The last one is the plan I advise international students to have. Those are like the 3 plans I talk about. Number 1 would be your study plan. Look at when I was talking about deciding the program you want to come, because coming to study or coming to Canada as an international student is like playing a football match. The first half is getting the admission, the second half is getting the visa. If you play the first half alone, get the admission without getting the visa, it's like giving your opponent, room
to defeat you.
Or room to defeat you, or the entire 3 points. So, and that's why it's also important to start thinking long term about your visa application process from the time you're looking for your admission. The big thing the visa officers would look out for would be your purpose. Why do you want to come to Canada? It's one of the reasons why a lot of individuals get visa rejections. They will tell you, I'm not convinced, I'm not satisfied that this program, this investment you want to make is, reasonable enough. I'm not satisfied that this student will be able to do something with this program. So you don't want to give them the room to doubt the sincerity of your application. And that's why your study plan is very, very important. Think about things like, what can you do with this program? Why this program? Does this show academic or professional progression for you? Why Canada? Why the particular university? Why not in your own country? Do your research to have sufficient explanation to back up your purpose of coming to Canada to study and build that into your study plan. That's very, very important. The second thing I tell people to prepare for, which I am personally guilty of, is the career plan. When I was coming to Canada, then the euphoria of, leaving Nigeria and, relocating to Canada and all that, I was so overwhelmed and consumed with that I wasn't thinking of, okay, so what happens after my study? And that's one thing I tell international students to be mindful of. This would also help you to choose your program. Look at, if you have the long-term plan of staying back in Canada, for instance, getting your post-graduation work permit, which the law allows you, permits you to do. You want to start thinking of what are the programs I can do, where are my, chances very high, what provinces or cities should I go to that my occupation would be in demand and all that. So you want to start thinking, what are the other things I need to do to strategically position myself for my career? Do I need to take special courses or certain programs or certifications? Do I need to start thinking of doing a co-op during the summer so that I can get the Canadian work experience and all that? These are things you have to start thinking of, long term. The last plan, I call it the personal exit plan, which is very, very important, especially given the fact that the immigration system is always evolving. You want to be mindful of that. COVID came, none of us saw that coming. Express entry was a big thing. I was lucky enough to transition from study permit directly to PR when I was an international student. I didn't even wait to get the post-graduation work permit because I used to make this joke that those of us that came to Canada in 2015 are IRCC's favorite individuals, because that was the year the Express Entry program started. And the opportunity was there. I had all it takes. I, met the requirements and all that. Nothing stops you as an international student to even apply for PR, except to get a scholarship that mandates you to go back home at the completion of your study. Yeah. So you want to start thinking of that and look at things like, what are my PR options if I intend to stay back in Canada? Do I need to build that into my choice of where to go? There are some individuals maybe on the basis of age or work experience that may not be eligible for the Federal Skilled Worker Program of Express Entry, for instance. Maybe they need to get a job offer. Maybe they need to get a provincial nomination. Maybe they need to follow an immigration pathway that is not points-based, like the Atlantic Immigrant Pilot Program. So those kind of individuals would factor those things into their decision of where to go and study. There are certain provinces that will nominate you based on studying in the province or taking particular programs. It's available in BC, it's available in Ontario. They have the master and PhD graduate stream. It's available in Saskatchewan. You have to work for 6 months after your study to be eligible for nomination. These are things to keep in mind as you make your plan so that you are not caught unawares. So your study plan, your career plan, your personal immigration exit plan would be the 3 plans to make. So, and by the time you do all these things, the four things I mentioned, the 6 questions to answer your plan, you are well positioned. You are armed with the requisite information and the knowledge to not just get into Canada, but to succeed as an international student in Canada.
Wow, super packed. Oh my gosh, as I was listening, I'm like, oh, I wish I knew all these things. I did study in Canada. I studied in the US, but if I knew half of all these things that you just mentioned before leaving Nigeria, I'm sure I wouldn't I've had to go through the things that I had to go through or the challenges I had to face on my way. So guys, please take notes, jot down and make sure you do all these things that he has said. And then we cannot overemphasize the importance of personal